Hello, MotoAmerica fans, and welcome to this latest special edition of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. We are in person here at Daytona International Speedway in the Media Center. I'm Sean Bice, and I'm joined by our communications manager, Paul Carruthers, on the other side. Hello, Paul.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, and we have Mr. Two-time and defending Daytona 200 champion, Brandon Paasch, with us this year, who's going to go for 3 in a row, which is so weird. Think about this. In the entire history of the Daytona 200, there have been 5-time winners, 4-time winners, 3-time winners. We've never had anybody win it 3 times in a row, and Brandon has a chance to do that this year. So welcome, Brandon. Did I set you up with any nerves?
No nerves. Third time's a charm, though, so we're going in full head of confidence, ready to go.
The first year, so you won. The first year you won it on a Yamaha.
Yeah.
And the last year on a Triumph, you're back on a Triumph this year.
Yeah, I'm technically, I'd like to think that we're undefeated around here. The first year I did it, got red flagged and restarted. So I was in the right spot, second place, a couple laps to go, ready to do the same thing that I've been doing, and didn't get the chance. So I count that as a win. And then the year after that, COVID, so we didn't race. And then, now 2 times back to back after that. So I got some confidence going into this year. I really like this place. There's always some magic about Daytona. You come out here and it's a different atmosphere for sure. So good team, good bike, good teammate, good vibes. We're ready to go.
We talked about it a little bit before the show started, but obviously with Daytona, there's a little bit of luck involved because, like you said, you got to be in it. You got to be in that lead group, and then pretty much anything could happen.
Yeah, you got to be there to get lucky.
Yourself in that position, right? or luck's not going to help.
No, for sure. Yeah, you got to put yourself in the position to get lucky. Daytona, I mean, yeah, there's definitely strategy, and it's definitely you have your idea of what you want to do, but there is some bit of luck that goes into it. You're timing a draft at 180 miles an hour with 4 guys around you. It's not easy to perfectly time that. So yeah, for sure, there's definitely luck.
Was there any point last year, other than when you actually crossed the line, that you thought you were going to make it? Or were you in doubt the whole way?
I was like, I think I could do this. I think I could do it. And honestly, even on the last lap, I was like, there's not a chance I'm doing this. And I kind of got lucky just where I placed myself on the track as far as where Hayes was and where I was coming on to NASCAR 4 and stuff. But I just happened to put myself in the right spot. It's not like if the roles were reversed, it could have very easily been Hayes that won it or Peterson. Had I not been there, Hayes was going to win the race full on. If I wasn't next to him,
because you moved over on him a little bit, right? Did he have to?
Yeah, he had to roll out a little bit to not collide. But I mean, at 180 miles an hour, it's so hard to kind of change your trajectory. Once you start going in one direction, you're kind of going that way unless you roll out of the throttle, and I'm not willing to roll out. So
like most things, when you watch it, like when we're in here watching it, it seems really sketchy, but it's less sketchy when you're doing it.
Yeah, everything seems like it's going so slow when you're on the banking, especially with guys that you trust. So Cam P, Marias, and Hayes, they were all real nice to ride with. Nobody's making any sudden moves. Everybody's real smooth, and you can predict where they're gonna go, which is nice because you ride with some of these other squirrels that are a little farther back in the pack, and you're just like, Jesus, get away from me. Because these guys don't know where they're going. They're just swerving all over the banking and running into each other. And then you get with the older guys that have been around for a while, and they're all very controlled. And so riding around them, yeah, it's great. Everybody is courteous to each other, kind of. Right. Obviously, they all want to win, but it's more. It feels safer around those guys.
How about when you actually lost the lead group, but then when you pitted, you made up ground by not getting tired?
Yeah.
Was that as much of a gamble as it sounds like, or did you know you were going to be okay?
Oh, I had no idea. We so actually the lap that I was pitting in, I came out of the barrel corner and I was I spun the thing up going up onto the banking, and I was like, good thing I'm coming and getting a tire on this lap. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting a tire. This is good. Starting to lose some grip here. Come in and everybody's just looking at me, and I was like, what do we do? Is somebody gonna change this tire, or what's going on? Because nobody said that before the race. So we had no plan on running the same tire. And they're like, is it good? And I was like, it's great. Let's go. So
there's only chance.
Yeah, I didn't really have it. I didn't have an option. So it was they fueled the bike 7 seconds, and they're like, see ya. Hey, good luck.
Funny, because any other form of motor racing, like cars, they'd be talking, and the driver would have a decision. You had no decision to make.
I had there was no choice. It was either I knew in that moment when they hesitated to put the wheel in, that this is the direction we're going. Like, because at that point, it doesn't make sense for them to change the tire after having a conversation about should we change the tire, because by that point you've just lost 10 seconds. So now now you're with Escalante and the boys in 4th, 5th place. So like, it's kind of, you got to go. You don't have a choice. So it was one of those deals.
You know, we played the finish of that race a bunch of times and looked at it and got to analyze it. So Cam Peterson is right there. He's almost looking over at you. In fact, I think he is. Did he touch you at all?
Yeah, his elbow hit my leg / fairing, but I mean, going that fast, I was kind of looking at him too. So of course, we're looking at each other pretty much. So we're gonna go straight at each other, kind of. So like, it was one of those things because we're both looking to see who just won the race. Like, you're crossing the finish line, and everybody's like wanting to win. And then when you're that close, you're kind of looking at each other, like hoping you're the one that did it, you know. And yeah, we did collide, but Cam's another one. Like, that guy's got so much talent on a motorcycle that, like, if you run into him on the banking, and I don't know, I just think he's all right with it. Like, he's got the control to kind of get himself out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, I mean, he showed that when he raced against Danilo last year and had some issues in the corkscrew there. He didn't care. I mean, he was happy. We thought he was going to be all upset when he came in. He goes, "No, let's do that again." You know, he was really good with it.
Yeah, Cam's cool to race. Obviously, that was the first time I've ever really raced him, and a lot of those guys actually is the first time that I've raced him. And Cam is one of the more talented guys I've raced with for sure. He's a interesting individual to watch ride.
Yeah, different. You like to mix it up a little bit out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I kind of give what I get, you know. Like, I'm real reserved. Unless somebody wants to get scrappy with me, I'm gonna give it right back. Like, I don't take anybody's shit on the track. Like, if somebody wants to give it to me, I'm giving it right back. I don't care.
So if you get passed, is your immediate thought, I got to pass that guy right back as soon as possible?
Yeah, you got to let him know. I mean, I'm not going to get bullied out there.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to give it right back instantly as soon as you can. And it kind of makes people, all right, maybe we won't mess with that guy. That's the kind of impression you want to leave on everybody, because then they kind of leave you alone and you kind of have a respect for each other, that you don't make silly maneuvers on each other.
Now, I think last year you qualified 4th. It doesn't really matter here, does it? I mean, Hayes was on the back row.
Yeah, Hayes was last, right?
So it's not one of those races where, because in history there have been guys that have obviously gotten away, but it doesn't happen in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like Bobier got away. It's like maybe 2014. He kind of walked and he was gone. But recently, there's not been anybody that's got away. I think maybe Esslick would have been the last one that kind of won by a mile per se, and that was on the Triumph, I think, back in like 15, somewhere around there. So it's not very likely to get away, and you got to really be able to, even when you do get away, you got to be consistent and be able to throw those lap times down lap after lap, which isn't easy because you get so many lappers here, and the draft plays a big part of it as well. So like for Cam last year, he had a 6-second gap, 7-second gap, and we were able to reel him in. And
yeah, he admits that he, like, being in his first 200, he was getting a little happy with the tire and kind of having too much fun, and then ran out of time.
No, yeah, you gotta have a strategy and stick to it for sure. I mean, if you get lucky to be in that position that Cam was in, you do whatever you have to do to run a lap time. At least that's my mentality. Like, if I get blessed to be in that situation, they are not catching me, at least not easily, you know. And like, I feel like even the year before with SDK, like, he kind of rolled out of it or whatever he was doing. I caught him from 11 seconds back in 10 laps or something like that. So it's like, I don't know. It's not easy to get a gap, but if you do get a gap, it would make things a lot nicer for sure. Because when it comes down to the last lap and you got 4 dudes that you're trying to figure out, like, how am I going to outsmart these guys? Playing chess with 4 guys is a lot more difficult than one guy or being by yourself. So.
Right.
So this will be the 81st running of the Daytona 200, and we have a bit of a controversy that we have to talk to Brandon, and Paul's going to chime in on this too. So this is an interesting situation. Obviously, Josh Herron at one point won the Superbike championship, but he went to Moto2 the next year, so he never really had the number. He never actually had the number 1 on his bike. Last year, he won the Supersport championship, and so he's moved up to Superbike for this year. So he's not going to have the number 1 on his bike. He'll be number 2. And the entry list showed that Josh Herron is going to be the number 2 bike this weekend. But then we just heard recently that Josh Herron will be running the number 1. And this race is separate from the Supersport championship that we have that starts at Road Atlanta. And that's the championship he won. This race, whether you win or not, it doesn't have anything to do with the Supersport championship. I don't get why he has the number one. And this isn't anything against Heron. And we have some differing opinions on
Hell, he
this.
wasn't even number 2 last year.
That's true. That's true, yeah. So,
Not to be that guy, but it's not a points paying race. I mean, I'm the champ.
and 2 times. So you're obviously 96.
Yeah, that's a preference though. I don't want to run the number 1. I mean, not that it's a superstition or anything, but I am the number 96 and I'm the only number 96. So it's like, I want to be that guy. That's my number. That's my brand. That's who I am. So to run the number 1 on my helmet is cool, but I'm not number 1, you know, as much as I could run the number, or I should have ran the number, but I don't want to. You know?
What could you have? Because I don't know how the circumstances, Paul. I don't understand.
I don't know.
This is part of our series. It's part of our series.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a weird thing because it's kind of like this standalone race.
Yeah, it's
but
a one-off race,
running
but
the
it's
same
super
bikes.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's super sport champ. I don't have a problem with him wearing the number 1 if no one else was going to run it. I mean, if there was an issue where he had, you know,
If we were both trying to run it,
right?
you know,
and-
I mean,
but
I should get it out of the two of
I
us.
see
but-
your point, but I'm fine with him running the number 1 because he is our super sport champion, and
Right.
we are on super sport bikes. So
And it's the one and only time he's going to be able to
Yeah, I
put
mean,
that one on his bike.
yeah,
So
let the guy run.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. Just let the little guy do it, you know?
yeah, but I think it's one of these situations. I mean, when we go into any race or any round of our series, you could say, okay, he's the defending Road Atlanta, Super Sport champion or something. We only do that with Daytona because, you know, even when Daytona was part of the Super Sport championship, we still would say who the Daytona 200 champion is just because it's such a special race no matter what. And you are the Daytona 200 champion.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Something got confused though in the past year because the first watch on the back says Daytona 200 champion. The new one from last year says winner. So I guess it can be up for debate whether I'm the champion or just a winner here.
He's also the only guy I know that wears 2 watches.
Yeah, I mean, if you got him, you might as well wear them. You know,
I don't smoke them.
Yeah, I think I've seen Eslick have 4 on his arm at once. So I mean, if he can wear 4, I can wear 2.
Yeah, but is it one of those on his ankle? That's an ankle.
Yeah.
That's not an actual watch.
I know where you were going to point.
Yeah, I thought you were pointing somewhere else. I was like, damn, I haven't seen that, but
And the band doesn't go that small.
yeah.
But good. So okay, Danny Eslick, 4-time winner. He could tie obviously Miguel Omel and Scott Russell, Mr. Daytona for 5. Nobody's ever done 5 consecutive. You're gonna have a chance to do it 3.
Yep.
Danny, have you guys talked?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like me and Danny are kind of the chillest 2 people in the pits. Like we kind of just we just hang out together, and we're like, yeah, I mean, we're gonna help each other when we can. And the last couple laps is just whoever outsmarts the other one is gonna get it. You know, as long as we're both in the fight. We don't really care. You know,
Yeah.
obviously we both want to win, but if one of us 2 wins it, we're gonna be happy for the other guy, no matter what. You know, like we're teammates, so
Mhm.
that's just kind of how it goes. Especially in Michelle's team, like. If one of us can bring home a result for Michelle, it means the world to both of us. So
I want to bring up something that's not the Daytona 200, so it's not as good a story for you. But like, I was fairly disappointed in your results last year in the Stock 1000 Championship because maybe I overestimated your abilities. But I thought you'd come in and you'd challenge for that championship, and initially the year went pretty bad, and then at the end you kind of got things sorted out a little bit. But did you think you were going to do better than what you did?
yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to come in and just smash it. To be honest, I still honestly don't really even rate the champion. Like I know Gilliam's a good rider. Like they're all good riders, obviously, but I just expect myself to be right at the front, if not smoking all these guys. So for me, I came in with a full head of confidence. Like, yeah, I'm going to turn up. And obviously I wasn't really saying it. I think I made a comment here or there, but mostly just in my head, just thinking like, all right, I'm going to turn up and smoke all these fools. Like, they don't know what's coming.
Well, because the bike had already.
Yeah, I mean, the bike had won the championships, and then they come out with the BMW, and the thing's got World Superbike electronics on it, pretty much. The thing sounded like I don't even know what going around the track. The thing was unreal. And yeah, I mean, it just took me a while to get used to it, and I didn't think the learning curve would be that steep, but I kind of smacked my head once or twice, and it just took me a little while, really. But I think I got it under control now, just figuring out the way that the bike wants to be ridden. I'd like to think of myself as I can hop on anything and go fast, but it took me a while on that 1000, which I think I disappointed a decent amount of people last year and surprised people with how poor the performance was at the beginning of the year. And obviously not ideal for me, but even the year before I struggled as well. And in Super Sport, I was struggling pretty bad in the British Championship, but right when I found my stride over there, I wound up a couple podiums, pole position, and broke my wrist and missed a couple races. So it was like I've been having these like peaks and valleys for the past couple of years now, and the 200's usually been a pretty nice peak for me, and it'd be nice if I can continue my momentum from here through the rest of the year this year.
So Brandon, I'm going to say this the right way. You have a very impressive breathing apparatus on your face. But
Jesus,
but
that's a little hard.
No, it's aggressive. I mean, look at it. It's noble.
Well, it is
I think he's saying it's massive is what he meant to say.
But it didn't work very well.
No, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I had a problem actually too. I didn't say anything about it to really anybody other than I think I told you about it.
Is it okay for me to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. It's just, I mean, it's not something that I didn't go around publicizing it because I didn't want to use it as an excuse or anything like that. Like, it's not an excuse. It's just how I was born, or from breaking my nose a couple times or whatever. But I had a double deviated septum for a long time. I didn't even know it. And I was coming in from races last year just all like red and not being able to breathe, and I was confused what was going on. And I was going to the doctor. I thought I had a problem with my heart, and it was actually my nose. So they went to put the camera up, and it went to here on one side and here on the other, and they were like, yeah, something's wrong here. And I had surgery end of the season last year, and I've been setting PRs on the bicycle since.
So it has made a difference. You can tell you breathe better.
Yeah, it made a difference for a little while. I mean, right now, whether it's just a buildup of mucus or whatever, my nose is kind of back to the same.
Oh,
it seems like it. But I mean, it's probably better than it was, but it's I'm a little bit congested right now.
Yeah, well, I think coming down here is a little different. It's humid.
He lives here.
I live here now.
Oh, you're right. You're Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne. So we, I went testing the past 2 days, and the pollen in Georgia's about damn killed me. I'm like,
sniffles. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, there's something to do with the pollen in the air is making me sneeze like crazy. But
do you deal with allergies?
Oh, big time. Yeah, at the Ridge last year, I was coming in and my eyes were just bright red. I couldn't see. There was like one lap I had to close my eyes going down the front straight because my eyes were that dry. I couldn't focus on anything. So I was just riding on the straight like this, and I opened my eyes, almost running in the back of that Ezra Bobier.
Have you ever tried breathe right strips or anything? Does that do anything for you?
Dude, yeah, that stuff was like, at first it started working a little bit, but then got to the point where it just wasn't helping. It wouldn't stick on my nose. My nose got all inflamed, like all the skin and stuff. So I had to stop using that stuff. I went as far as like finding stuff to jam in my nose to like keep the skin apart.
Yeah.
And that helped for a little bit until I could have the surgery, and surgery made a big difference.
That was kind of gruesome when you had that. I mean, it looked like you had a pretty serious bloody nose there for a while.
Yeah, honestly, my nose is still bleeding.
Is it really?
Not probably not from that, but yeah, it's still like, it still gets like little clumps of stuff like that looks like it's from that surgery that comes out every now and again. I'm like, damn, it's been like 4 months, 5 months.
So just to reset this, so Brandon's racing on a POVC Racing Triumph in the Daytona 281st running, but the rest of the season he's on a Altus Motorsports Suzuki GSXR 1000R. Okay, I want to ask about this. So Paul mentioned the fact that it was a little bit of a struggle last year. So it's 5 rounds this year, and it's 2 races per round. So you get 10 races. Do you know yet whether you guys, because you guys can also race essentially every round in the Superbike class and race there. Do you know yet if you're doing that or what your plan is?
I mean, we barely have the budget to do the 5 rounds. So I think at the moment our plan is to try and get our behind the scenes stuff sorted out, get those 5 rounds locked in. And then if we can do more, we'll do more. But if we can't, let's just focus on the 5 rounds, come out with 5 solid results, 10 solid results, and try to fight for the title this year. I mean, last year, kind of got on a streak there towards the end of the year. I think I had 4 or 5 podiums in a row and was feeling good. And now if I carry that momentum to round 1 this year, we'll start in the fight rather than starting in 10th, 11th place of the championship and having to work my way back up and finish in 4th. this year, let's try and start in the top 3, top 5, and then keep working forward like I always do. So, we're going to focus on those 5 rounds for now, and hopefully we can do more races, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and you haven't mentioned it, but I mean, we talked about, I guess I'm here to just expose all your medical maladies or something, but did you also have an issue with your shoulder last year too?
Yeah, I've got an issue with my shoulder that I still haven't had fixed. I think the count now is up to 15 times I've dislocated it in the past year. It'll be a year, and in another month, it'll be a year since I dislocated it for the first time. And since then, it's been another 15 times or 16 times total that I've dislocated my left shoulder. So it is
weird. Screwing around on those videos, or
no?
You've done it, right?
Yeah, the week of COTA last year for the Superbike race, I crashed the 1000 testing, dislocated my shoulder, knocked myself out, and then went to the hospital, had my shoulder put back in, came back to the hotel, went to sleep. While I was laying in bed, the thing popped out again, same day. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Missed COTA. 3 or 4 weeks later, I'm in the gym doing my physical therapy with a 5-pound weight, shoulder popped out again. I was like, this isn't good. Raced the next weekend. And then I was somewhere else. And I was in bed at one of the races and rolled over, my shoulder popped out in my sleep again. And I was like, yo, you've got to be kidding me. And
so still no surgery though?
Yeah, no, still no surgery. I've just been doing as much strength and conditioning stuff as I can for it, and just trying to build all the muscles around it. My left one. I've also 3 years ago now, I dislocated my right shoulder and AC joint. Never got that one fixed either. So I kind of have 2 weak shoulders, but I mean, I've been training a lot and I've been feeling pretty tight. Everything's been feeling pretty tight. So, once it starts getting loose like that, when it's popping out all the time, that there's a problem. But it's been, knock on wood, I mean, it's been feeling pretty good. I've been taking my time rehabbing it and trying to go about it the right way. So hopefully next year I can get surgery, or end of this year.
Now, given your size, what if you had to choose, what are you most comfortable on, the Triumph or on the Suzuki? I would guess Suzuki. It's a bigger bike.
Yeah, I mean, the Suzuki is definitely bigger, so I fit on it better. But I do enjoy riding that Triumph. It's kind of a toss-up, really. It's hard, too, because both the teams are going to be listening to this, so I can't really say one or the other. But
I'm not trying to make you for that. But yeah, choose.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I like the Supersport bikes still. That's kind of where I've always been fast, is in Supersport. But the 1000 is where I need to be. So, I mean, it's kind of time to just figure it out, start going fast on a big bike.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about POBC racing a little bit. And we know this is a team that's owned by Michelle Lindsay, and it's a legacy to John Couch, who is her fiance, I believe. So he's kept the team going from the point of view of the Daytona 200. And previously, they did race an entire season. Have you guys ever discussed, has she discussed with you the possibility of POBC doing a full MotoAmerica season?
Yeah, we'd love to, but once again, unfortunately, it comes down to budget. I mean, she was going over some of the numbers with me on how much it would cost her to run the season, and I just looked at her and I was like, I don't think I even said anything. I just looked at her. I was amazed. But yeah, she runs a fantastic program, and when you show up to ride for Michelle, and she's got everything so organized, it's unbelievable. And yeah, she's just real good to work with. I wish we could run a full season just to see what we could do at some of the other tracks. I mean, if she can put together a one-off team and kill it like this every year at Daytona, imagine what she could do at all the other races. So,
do you know who your crew is this year?
Yeah.
Tell us who's on the crew. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't know until I started looking at I did a story about pit stop and didn't know. I actually thought it was Taylor Knapp, but Josiah Davis is on the front.
Yeah, so my crew chief's Rob Ward. He was working for Bobby Fong back when he rode the Triumph, maybe like 2014 or somewhere around there. So he knows the Triumph. I've worked with him before here and there, actually. Then I got Rob Silva and Andy Deming are my mechanics. We got Mike Sims is doing my fuel and stand, and then we got Josiah Davis is doing my front wheel, he actually raced against us last year in the stock 1000 class towards the end of the year. So hopefully he continues his duty as best front tire changer in the game and gives us a nice smooth front tire swap at our first pit stop. I got faith in him, and he's super smooth with it. And then the rest of the team super cool too. Even Danny's crew, they've been jumping in and out, helping where they can, and we're a kind of a big family effort. So everybody helps each other, and it's a good, fun atmosphere to be involved in. And there's no like animosity between any of us, and there's no like hate going on. It's all, we all like love each other. So it's cool.
Speaking of hate,
Oh, here we go. This is gonna be good.
we talked about it earlier before we got started, and you said like there's a lot of people in the paddock
That hate me.
Well, despise you.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's,
And you don't really know why. I mean, you know you're a smart ass, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
a smart ass.
appreciate that, but not everybody else would.
no, yeah. I think it's people have to understand, like, I'm not that bad, I'm a nice guy most of the time. It's just some of it is like me just being a goofball, like trying to be funny or whatever. But everybody like that I've met in the past years, like, dude, I thought you were an asshole before I met you. And then they meet me and they're like, I don't know why everybody just thinks you're a dick.
I know, even Tucker said it.
Yeah, it's like, I understand I do say some controversial stuff sometimes, but it's not out of like me trying to be a dick. It's just
Do you
happens to
try
be.
to be cocky, or is it natural?
No, that's natural for sure. I've always been taught, like, growing up, like, know who you are and know that you're the big dog, so act like it, And I don't know, I've always been like a fan of that. Like when you see somebody that's like walking around and they have that confidence and they just put that out there, it's like, it makes me respect them, Like if I see somebody acting like that, I'm like, sweet. As long as I'm not racing, then I'm like, you're a dick. So like, I mean, it goes both ways, I guess, for sure.
I think it's funny because I'm sure you guys all know and have seen on social media the whole, Brandon Paasch, Josh Herron back and forth. These guys actually text each other when they're not doing that. So they have.
Oh, now you're giving away the secrets. Now everybody's gonna think it's staged.
I still don't know if it's very pleasant conversation, but it's not just on social media, but they do communicate elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've had beef with just about everybody in the pits. Like, I mean, let's be honest. There's always somebody that wants to get into it with me. So, I mean, that either means I'm doing something right or I am an asshole, one or the other, or both.
Let's talk about the Jersey group a little bit.
Oh, speaking of
Anthony Mask.
Yeah, speaking of problems.
Yeah, I mean, do you and Mask get along?
Oh yeah, we the only time that we've ever really beefed is when we were racing together. And that's just, we're two young kids trying to beat each other for a championship. That's natural. You kind of expect that anyways. And as soon as we kind of outgrew that, I mean, we've been really good friends our whole career pretty much. Just hanging out, riding. Like back home before I moved to Florida, we only lived within an hour of each other. So we were riding dirt bikes and training together all the time on bikes. I mean, he's not a big gym guy, but yeah, I mean, we used to ride together all the time and stuff like that. So we're good friends. Same with little Gus. And
yeah, I was going to ask you about Gus. He's a little bit younger than you guys, but he's kind of part of that rap.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He's definitely the little brother. He's took a lot more abuse than he probably should have over the years. But that's kind of what happens when you're the youngest in the group. You kind of just get abused and made fun of. And
he's the nicest one.
Yeah. You could say that, I guess. I mean, he's growing into the shoes that I was in 2016. So he's got the young vibe going on there with.
Well, it's like Kenny Roberts said about Kenny Jr. because everyone always say how nice Kenny Jr. was, and he'd always say, "Well, he's young. He's got plenty of time to become a prick."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and he kind of never really did.
No, he never did.
Yeah,
Curtis did, but
yeah.
No, it's funny though. He like kind of grew up around us, so he kind of saw all of what not to do, and then picked up on the how to go fast kind of thing, I guess. And he's been doing good. The little guy is coming into his own. I'm excited for him this year for the twins. See how he gets on with the big bike, and yeah, it's cool seeing somebody that like we've helped out so much as a little guy to now he's almost my height and he's killing it.
Yeah, he's a good rider. I thought it was really cool last year where you guys went over to England and because you had an experience there. Did you set that up? How was that done?
Yeah, I did my part. I'm trying to help those guys get as many opportunities and experiences as they can, and a couple of my sponsors came together and helped them out, lining up rides for them and helping even sponsor them a little bit and stuff like that, and got all of us over there. And we kind of did it as like we're all friends and we all wanted to go race, so we kind of took over BSB for the weekend, and Gus in the 400 class, Maz in the stock 600, and then me stock 1000, and yeah, I mean, me and Maz were in the two most stacked classes over there besides Superbike. Like, you stick Maz out in stock 600 and there's 40 guys in the class, 45 guys in the class, and they're all pretty good. And then they've all been to Brands Hatch a million times. And then you stick me out in stock 1000 and you got half the grid is ex Superbike riders and the other half the grid are going to Superbike. So it's like you're around a bunch of killers. And then Gus too, like none of the classes over there are easy. It's all hard, but Gus did well, almost on the podium in the one race. And I think I finished 8th or 9th, or I don't even know. I don't remember, but yeah, it was a good weekend. It was pretty sweet. It was cool having all my friends come over with me, and we all traveled together, screwed around together the whole time, stayed in the same hotels, rental cars, all that good stuff. So you can imagine 3 hooligans taking over England. It was an interesting weekend for sure.
And wasn't Gus's dad with you guys too?
Yeah, poor Kevin. He had to deal with us. Yeah, Kev Dog had to deal with us, and I am so sorry, Kevin. That was that was probably a long trip for him.
He sent me a photo. And he's like trying to wrangle you guys, and you're over there in the back, relieving yourself against the wall.
Yeah,
I can't take these guys anywhere.
No, yeah, we wound up we flew over and we wound up having to get 2 rental cars because we had that much stuff with us. We get off the plane and we're looking and we're like, 6 gear bags, everybody's personal bags. We're like, that ain't fitting in one car.
Yeah,
driving around in 2 newer rental cars, just bashing them off bushes and stuff in England, just driving like idiots. None of us, obviously I've driven there before, but I'm not old enough to rent a car. So poor Kev Dog's driving on the wrong side of the road, smacking into trees and shit, driving like a grandma. I was like, dude, just let me drive, please. But no, that was a pretty unreal experience. It was fun. Like I said, going over there with 2 of my friends that are really good friends, and it was a unique experience that not everybody gets.
Hey, you can help me with something. So we know Gus Rodeo this year, he's racing for Rodeo Racing, powered by RoBem Engineering. That those 2 teams came together. So it's Ben Vladi and Gus Rodeo and Aprilia R660s in the Revit Twins Cup class. We've got Brandon after this weekend, who's going to be in Stock 1000 on obviously Altus Motorsports GSXR 1000R. And Mazziato is with Northeast Cycle on Yamaha R6. He's not part of your group, but the one guy that was on that team, Benjamin Smith. Do we know what's going on with him?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've heard rumors of him riding for a bunch of different teams, but I've not heard anything, and I don't talk to him really. I mean, he is somewhat local to us, and we actually grew up racing with him in the mini bikes and stuff like that. But he kind of took a different, more smarter career path where he actually went to college.
He went to college.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if that makes him less of a hooligan or more. He might be. You don't know. He might be out of them frat houses having a good old time.
End up with a degree.
At least he'll have a degree. I barely have a high school degree.
Rental cars that are wrecked.
Yeah, wrecked rental cars and a couple trophies, and that'll be me. Yeah, a couple Rolexes. I'll be pawning those off in a few years to get a house or something. But yeah, I've not heard anything about Ben. I mean, I hope he gets a ride. Ben's got a lot of talent, and he's been around for a while now, and it would be cool to see him on the grid for sure.
Yeah, I thought maybe his plan was going to be on a leader bike, so maybe Stock 1000.
That'd be cool.
He lives in like South Carolina, I think now. So I don't know if that's where he's going to college, but I know he moved there. And you're right, he was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he was going to Penn State.
Yeah, he was.
Well, yeah, it sucks. I wish I talked to him more. He's doing his own thing, and I don't like to bother people, so I only really stick with my little crew of people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really go out of my way to annoy people unless it's somewhat provoked on social media. Then I'll clap right back at them.
Well, listen, I think we can wrap it up here, but I mean, we wish you a huge amount of luck for, doing 3 in a row would be so cool. I mean, it'd be awesome. And whatever happens, we'll see at the end, but I'm sure it's going to be close. And then, good luck to you during the season.
Thank you.
In Stock 1000. And Paul, you got anything more for?
Well, I want to thank you for doing all that. He did a lot. He did a lot of Daytona 200 PR for us, and went to the 500 and Supercross, and got some TV interviews and stuff. So that was appreciated.
Yeah, that was sweet. It was a good time, and hopefully we can do more of it when we get out of here with the 3rd Rolex, and we can do some more TV stuff and PR. Okay. I'll be in Catch Me in Waffle House Saturday night.
That's where it's at. And hey, I want to mention to you guys, so the Daytona 200 is going to be live on MotoAmerica Live Plus. It's the only way you can watch it live on that day. So make sure that you get the subscription and join us. There's a lot of the riders that tell us even when they're at this track, they like Live Plus because they can watch some of the sessions when they're not out there. Plus, this track is big, so it's a chance for everybody to see it. And even if you're here, Live Plus is a great streaming subscription service to have. And so, also, I think 200 is actually on Nav TV the next day. It's one day delayed. But for sure, if you want to see it live, it's MotoAmerica Live Plus, and you can go to our website and click on how to watch, and it'll be there. So thanks a lot for joining us. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, and thanks to the whole TOBC Racing team for giving us a pretty unreal package again this year. Arai helmets, Speedy Leathers. If you don't know Jack, just everybody else helps me out. Luxar VIP, Evolve GT Track Days, shop Team BP 96. That's go get yourself some swag and support the cause. We're out here grinding.
Hey, what's the duck, real quick?
Oh, so the duck was actually, it started off as that my first winning helmet from Daytona was all a bunch of rubber duckies. And that kind of started as a joke because I had these like swim trunks that were all rubber duckies. I used to wear them all the time. You guys might remember those.
Yeah.
And so the first helmet was a joke, and then I won the race. So then we were like, you know what? It needs to have a duck on the second one. So last year, put a duck right there in the same spot, won the race. So I was like, all right, do not miss the duck again this year. There needs to be a duck on there. So we got the ducky on there again, and hopefully that's my good luck charm.
Good stuff. Okay.
Superstitious racers, man.
Love it.
It's unreal.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.